The sacred narration unfolds from the timeless wisdom of the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the most revered texts in Sanatana Dharma. Within it lies Skanda 8, a profound chapter that reveals the great cosmic event of the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean of existence. In the series of reflections, each episode gently unfolds a moment from this divine unfolding. A moment not just of myth, but of meaning. This is episode 11. Lakshmi, goddess of wealth and fortune, when prosperity becomes sacred. The great churning of the ocean of milk had already revealed many extraordinary treasures. The terrible poison halahala had arisen from its depths, reminding the universe that creation and destruction often walk together. The celestial apsaras had appeared, revealing beauty in its most enchanting forms. Varuni, the goddess associated with wine and intoxication, had emerged as a gentle reminder that pleasure, when pursued without wisdom, can cloud human awareness. Yet the ocean had not finished revealing its mysteries. The Devas and the Asuras continued to churn with determination, their minds fixed upon the nectar of immortality. Mount Mandara still turned upon the back of the great tortoise incarnation of Lord Vishnu, while the mighty serpent Vasuki stretched between the opposing forces as the cosmic rope that bound their efforts together. The entire universe seemed to pause in silent anticipation. Then, from the radiant waters of the Ksira Sagar, there slowly arose a vision of such beauty, serenity, and divine grace that even the celestial beings stood motionless in awe. Standing upon a fully blossomed lotus, clothed in garments that shimmered like the golden light of dawn, appeared Sri Lakshmi, the eternal goddess of prosperity, fortune, beauty, and auspiciousness. The scriptures describe that wherever her presence is established, harmony flourishes, generosity blossoms, wisdom is nourished, and life itself becomes enriched. For countless generations, devotees have worshipped Lakshmi as the bestower of wealth and good fortune. Homes are illuminated with lamps in her honor, prayers are offered for abundance, and families seek her blessings for success and prosperity. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly invites us to look far deeper. Is Lakshmi merely the giver of gold and material possessions? Or does her emergence from the cosmic ocean reveal something far greater about the nature of true abundance? Perhaps prosperity is not measured by the number of possessions one owns, but by the peace that fills the heart, the kindness that fills the home, the wisdom that guides our actions, and the gratitude that colors our daily lives. For throughout history, humanity has searched endlessly for wealth. Civilizations have risen and fallen in its pursuit. Empires have been built, fortunes accumulated, and treasures gathered beyond imagination. Yet even today, many who possess great riches continue to search for something they cannot purchase. The story of Lakshmi gently asks every seeker the same timeless question: what is true wealth? As we continue our journey through the Samudra Manthan, let us discover that the greatest treasures hidden within the cosmic ocean are not merely those that can be held in our hands, but those that awaken within the soul. Many viewers may wonder about the origin of Lakshmi. Was Lakshmi created during the churning? The answer is actually no. Lakshmi is eternal. Lakshmi is not merely wealth. She is prosperity, harmony, beauty, gratitude, and auspiciousness. Sometimes these qualities seem absent from our lives, just as the sun disappears behind clouds. Yet their absence does not mean they have ceased to exist. Different scriptures describe her differently. In the Bhagavatam's Samudra Manthan narrative, she re-emerges from the ocean of milk. In Vaishnava theology, she is the eternal consort of Vishnu. In some traditions, she is regarded as an eternal cosmic principle. In certain Puranic accounts, she temporarily withdraws from the worlds due to Durvasa's curse and later reappears during the churning. The scriptures do not regard Lakshmi as being newly created during the churning of the ocean of milk. Rather, her emergence is understood as a reappearance or manifestation of an eternal divine principle. Lakshmi's prosperity may withdraw from the world when Dharma declines and reappear when balance is restored. Section 1. Lakshmi as cosmic prosperity. As the gentle radiance of Lakshmi spread across the celestial ocean, it was said that all beings gazed upon her with wonder. The fragrance of countless lotus blossoms seemed to fill the heavens, while the waters of the ocean of milk reflected her golden brilliance like the first light of dawn upon a tranquil lake. Even the devas, who had witnessed countless divine manifestations through the ages, stood silently before her. For this was not merely the appearance of another celestial being, this was the manifestation of prosperity itself. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly teaches that prosperity is far more profound than the accumulation of riches. Lakshmi represents abundance in its highest and purest form. She is the sacred energy that nourishes life. She is the beauty found in nature, the fertility of the earth, the generosity of flowing rivers, the abundance of harvests, the warmth of family, the harmony of relationships, and the quiet contentment that arises when life is lived in accordance with Dharma. In later centuries, many came to associate Lakshmi almost exclusively with gold, jewels, and financial success. Temples became filled with prayers asking for wealth, business success, and material prosperity. Yet the ancient sages understood that these are only small reflections of her far greater nature. For what value is immense wealth if the mind remains restless? What use are grand houses if peace has departed from the family that lives within them? What joy can luxury bring if compassion, kindness, and wisdom have quietly disappeared from the heart? The Bhagavad Gita repeatedly reminds humanity that lasting happiness cannot arise from endless attachment to external objects. The senses continually seek new pleasures, new possessions, and new experiences, yet desire itself is never completely satisfied. Like a fire fed with dry wood, craving often grows stronger the more it is indulged. Lakshmi therefore represents not the endless pursuit of possession, but the graceful state of sufficiency. She reminds humanity that abundance begins with gratitude. The person who is grateful for simple food, loving family, meaningful work, and inner peace already possesses a treasure greater than many kings. Modern society often measures success through income, status, and visible achievement. People compare themselves with neighbors, colleagues, and strangers on social media, believing that happiness lies just beyond the next promotion, the next purchase, or the next investment. Yet anxiety, loneliness, and emotional exhaustion continue to increase across the world. The Bhagavatam invites us to reconsider what prosperity truly means. The wealth that sustains the human spirit cannot be measured by numbers upon a bank statement. True abundance is the ability to sleep peacefully, to eat with gratitude, to speak kindly, to serve others generously, and to live each day without the constant fear of losing what one possesses. Lakshmi therefore becomes not simply the goddess of fortune, but the embodiment of balanced living itself. Where gratitude flourishes, Lakshmi is present. Where generosity overcomes selfishness, Lakshmi is present. Where beauty is created through kindness, where knowledge is shared without expectation, where food is offered with love, where guests are welcomed with respect, and where compassion guides daily actions. There too the quiet presence of Lakshmi may be found. The ancient story of her emergence from the cosmic ocean gently reminds every seeker that prosperity is not something to be chased without end. It is something to be cultivated within. For when the heart becomes abundant, the whole world begins to appear abundant as well. Section 2. Why Lakshmi emerges after the churning. The appearance of Lakshmi within the Samudra Manthan is no accident of mythology. The Bhagavatam reveals a profound spiritual truth through the order in which the treasures emerge from the cosmic ocean. Before Lakshmi appeared, the ocean first released poison. The deadly halahala arose from its depths, threatening the very existence of creation itself, until Lord Shiva, through boundless compassion, accepted its terrible burden. Thereafter came many celestial wonders, each carrying its own symbolism and lesson for humanity. Beauty appeared, power appeared, temptation appeared, then desire. Only then, after the turbulence had been endured, did the radiant goddess of prosperity arise from the waters. The ancient sages understood that the sequence reflects the journey of every human soul. Very few lives unfold without difficulty. There are seasons of uncertainty, disappointment, grief, and struggle. There are moments when hopes seem to dissolve, when relationships change, when illness visits the body, when financial hardship creates anxiety, or when the future appears hidden behind a veil of darkness. During such times, it is easy to believe that prosperity has abandoned us. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly whispers another possibility. Perhaps the soul itself is being churned. Just as the ocean of milk had to be stirred before its hidden treasures could emerge, the human heart is often transformed through challenge before its deepest wisdom is revealed. The patience learned through suffering often becomes compassion. The humility born from failure becomes understanding. The uncertainty that once frightened us becomes the doorway to faith. And the losses we once resisted sometimes prepare us to recognize blessings that were always present. How often do people look back upon the most difficult chapters of their lives and discover that those very experiences changed them for the better? The illness that taught gratitude, the disappointment that redirected life toward a greater purpose, the hardship that strengthened character, the loneliness that awakened devotion. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that the wise person remains steady through both joy and sorrow, gain and loss, success and failure, recognizing that all experiences become opportunities for spiritual growth when viewed through the eyes of wisdom. This does not mean that suffering is desirable. Rather, it reminds us that suffering need not be meaningless. Even the darkest ocean may conceal unimaginable treasures beneath its surface. Modern society often celebrates immediate success and instant gratification. People seek prosperity without patience, recognition without effort, and abundance without inner discipline. Yet nature itself teaches a different lesson. The seed rests unseen before it becomes a tree. The pearl forms slowly within the oyster. The lotus rises gradually from the mud before unfolding its perfect petals beneath the morning sun. So too does genuine prosperity arise through time, perseverance, and inner refinement. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi emerges only after the great churning. She reminds humanity that lasting abundance is rarely born from comfort alone. It is often discovered after courage, perseverance, and faith have quietly transformed the heart. The ocean of milk therefore becomes a mirror for every human life. For each of us carries within an unseen ocean of hopes, fears, desires, memories, and possibilities. When life begins to churn those hidden depths, we may imagine that everything is falling apart. But the Bhagavatam offers another vision. It gently suggests that beneath the turbulence, unseen treasures are preparing to rise. And among those treasures, waiting patiently for the right moment, stands Lakshmi herself. Section 3. The Lotus, rising above the mud. As Lakshmi emerged from the ocean of milk, the scriptures describe her standing upon a fully blossomed lotus. The image is one of the most recognized in all of Sanatana Dharma. Across temples, paintings, and sacred texts, the lotus accompanies Lakshmi almost everywhere she appears. Yet the lotus is far more than a beautiful flower. It is one of the deepest spiritual symbols ever offered to humanity. Unlike many flowers that bloom in clean and gentle surroundings, the lotus begins its journey deep within mud and still waters. Its roots remain hidden beneath the surface, surrounded by darkness and decay. Yet, day after day, it slowly rises upward, through the water, until it finally blossoms, untouched by the very mud from which it emerged. Not a single stain clings to its delicate petals. The lotus does not reject the mud, it transforms it into beauty. In the simple image, the ancient sages revealed an entire philosophy of life. Every human being living within the world experiences joy and disappointment, praise and criticism, success and failure, attachment and loss. No one escapes the challenges of earthly existence, yet the Bhagavatam reminds us that spiritual maturity does not require abandoning the world. It requires learning how to live within it without allowing it to imprison the mind. The Bhagavad Gita beautifully echoes the same teaching when it compares the wise person to a lotus leaf resting upon water. The leaf touches the water, yet the water cannot cling to it. In the same way, one may participate fully in life while remaining inwardly free from attachment and selfish desire. How relevant this wisdom remains today. The modern world surrounds us with constant stimulation. Our attention is drawn endlessly toward advertising, social media, endless comparison, financial pressure, and the pursuit of recognition. The mind is encouraged to seek validation from strangers rather than contentment within itself. Every day, the world whispers that happiness lies in acquiring something more: a newer device, a larger house, greater status, more followers, more possessions. Yet many discover that each achievement brings only temporary satisfaction before another desire quietly takes its place. The lotus offers another path. It teaches that peace does not come from escaping the world, but from remaining centered while moving through it. Just as the flower rises above muddy waters without rejecting them, the seeker learns to live amidst the complexity of modern life without allowing negativity to settle within the heart. A workplace filled with conflict need not destroy inner peace. Financial challenges need not extinguish gratitude. Family disagreements need not erase compassion. The lotus remains what it is, because its roots draw nourishment while its petals remain turned toward the light. Perhaps this too is Lakshmi's gentle instruction. Prosperity is not merely external success, it is the ability to preserve beauty amidst difficulty, kindness amidst conflict, and hope amidst uncertainty. The strongest souls are not those who have avoided life's struggles. They are those who have passed through them while preserving their gentleness. Every sunrise offers the same quiet miracle. The lotus opens once again to the light. It asks for nothing. It competes with no other flower. It simply unfolds according to its own divine nature. Perhaps humanity was always meant to do the same. As we continue our journey through the Samudra Manthan, the lotus beneath Lakshmi's feet silently reminds every seeker that the highest prosperity is not measured by what the world places around us, but by the purity, resilience, and grace that we cultivate within ourselves. Section 4. The difference between wealth and greed. As the celestial beings gazed upon Lakshmi, they did not merely behold beauty, they witnessed the arrival of sacred prosperity itself. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly presents another question that echoes through every age of human history. If Lakshmi represents abundance, what then is greed? At first glance, the two may appear similar. Both concern wealth, both concern possessions, both concern the desire to improve one's circumstances. Yet they arise from entirely different states of consciousness. Lakshmi nourishes, greed consumes. Lakshmi creates harmony, greed creates restlessness. Lakshmi inspires generosity, greed fears sharing. Lakshmi brings contentment, greed endlessly whispers that what we possess is never enough. The distinction is subtle, yet it shapes the destiny of individuals, families, and entire civilizations. The ancient scriptures never condemn wealth itself. Many of the greatest kings described in the Puranas were immensely prosperous. Janaka ruled with wisdom and detachment. Yudhishthir governed with justice and compassion. Their prosperity became a blessing because it was guided by Dharma. Their wealth served society rather than enslaving the mind. By contrast, the Mahabharata offers the example of Duryodhana. Though surrounded by immense riches and royal privilege, his heart remained dissatisfied. The prosperity of others became unbearable to him. Comparison gave birth to jealousy. Jealousy became resentment. Resentment became greed. And greed eventually consumed an entire kingdom. The Ramayana offers a similar lesson through Ravana. He possessed extraordinary knowledge, power, and unimaginable wealth. The golden city of Lanka stood as a marvel of the ancient world. Yet the inability to master desire brought suffering upon himself, his family, and his people. The lesson remains timeless. The greatest poverty is not the absence of money, it is the inability to feel content. How often does modern society encourage this endless cycle? Advertisements persuade people that happiness lies in the next purchase. Social media quietly compares one life with another. Success is measured by possessions rather than peace. Entire industries are built upon convincing people that they are incomplete until they acquire something more. The result is often not abundance but exhaustion. People sacrifice health to earn wealth, then sacrifice wealth to regain health. Families spend less time together while working longer hours to purchase things they rarely have time to enjoy. Children inherit expensive possessions but long for simple moments of attention. The Bhagavatam gently asks whether humanity has mistaken accumulation for fulfillment. Lakshmi teaches a different path. She does not oppose prosperity, she sanctifies it. She reminds us that wealth becomes sacred when it relieves suffering, educates children, feeds the hungry, protects nature, supports family, preserves culture, and enables acts of compassion. Money itself carries no moral quality. Like fire, it may warm a home or burn it down. Its effect depends entirely upon the consciousness of the one who holds it. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi is always portrayed with such serenity. She never clutches her treasures. She allows them to flow. From one hand, she offers blessings. From another, she pours forth abundance. The message is beautifully simple. That which circulates with gratitude multiplies. That which is hoarded through fear often imprisons its owner. Each of us may therefore ask a quiet question within our own hearts. Do I possess my wealth, or does my wealth possess me? For the Bhagavatam suggests that the richest person is not the one who owns the most. The richest person is the one who has discovered the joy of saying, I have enough. And from that place of contentment, every act of generosity becomes another lotus flower offered at the feet of Lakshmi herself. Section 5. The Journey of Wealth Through Human History. The emergence of Lakshmi from the ocean of milk invites humanity to reflect upon a remarkable question. If prosperity is one of the great treasures of creation, how has mankind sought to understand and preserve it through the ages? Long before banks, stock exchanges, and digital currencies existed, wealth wore a very different appearance. Thousands of years ago, among the earliest civilizations of Mesopotamia, a person's prosperity was often measured not by coins, but by living creatures. Cattle wandered across the plains as symbols of both survival and abundance. A large herd meant nourishment for the family, strength for agriculture, and security during uncertain times. The very language of wealth was intertwined with the rhythm of nature itself. When one family lent cattle to another, something remarkable happened. The animals multiplied, calves were born, the herd increased. From this simple observation emerged one of the earliest ideas that would shape the financial history of civilization. The asset itself could produce more than its original value. In time, this simple principle evolved into the concept that later generations would call interest. In some ancient societies, borrowing carried consequences that modern people can scarcely imagine. Clay tablets recorded the agreements between lender and borrower, setting out the obligations that both parties accepted. If the debt could not be repaid, the penalty was often severe. Land could be forfeited, homes could be lost. In certain periods of Mesopotamian history, a debtor might even surrender members of his own family into temporary debt servitude until the obligation had been satisfied. Wives and children could lose their freedom through circumstances over which they had little control. What we today call the fine print of a loan agreement could determine the future of an entire household, shaping lives in ways that extended far beyond money itself. These ancient practices remind us that debt has never been merely a financial arrangement. Throughout history, it has possessed the power to shape lives, alter destinies, and, at times, place human freedom itself at risk. Perhaps this is why so many sacred traditions repeatedly caution against allowing desire to outrun wisdom. For when possessions begin to own the possessor, prosperity quietly gives way to bondage. As trade expanded between kingdoms and great civilizations, practical difficulties soon appeared. Cattle were valuable, but they were hardly convenient to carry across mountains or deserts. Human ingenuity sought a better solution. Gradually, Metal coins emerged as a common medium of exchange. Gold, silver, and copper passed from hand to hand, allowing merchants from distant lands to trade with increasing ease. India, Persia, China, Greece, and Rome all developed remarkable systems of commerce, connecting cultures through the exchange of goods, knowledge, and wealth. Centuries later, another great transformation occurred. Paper money began to replace heavy metal coins. Then came banks, written promises, credit instruments, and eventually the modern financial system that now surrounds nearly every human activity. Today, wealth often exists only as invisible numbers upon computer screens. With a single touch upon a mobile phone, fortunes may travel across continents in an instant. Never before in human history has money moved with such extraordinary speed. Yet, amidst all this remarkable progress, one question quietly remains unchanged. Has humanity become wealthier or merely more complicated? The Bhagavatam invites us to pause and reflect, for wealth itself has never been the problem. Prosperity allows families to flourish. It builds schools, hospitals, and temples. It supports learning, charity, art, and culture. It provides security for the elderly and opportunity for future generations. Used wisely, wealth becomes a sacred instrument of compassion. Yet history also reveals another pattern. The desire for wealth can quietly transform into attachment. Attachment becomes craving. Craving becomes greed. And greed eventually becomes bondage. Entire empires have risen through prosperity only to collapse beneath the weight of their own excess. Markets have soared through optimism and fallen through fear. Families have been united by shared abundance and divided by inheritance. Even in the modern world, countless people devote their lives to earning more, only to discover that the peace they were seeking cannot be purchased at all. Debt itself offers a profound lesson. In its simplest form, debt is merely a financial tool. It allows people to build homes, educate children, establish businesses, and improve their circumstances. When guided by wisdom, it can become a force for growth and opportunity. But when desire outruns discernment, the same tool may quietly become a chain. The Bhagavatam would perhaps remind us that bondage is not created by money itself. Bondage arises when the human mind forgets the difference between need and endless desire. Modern society encourages constant consumption. New fashions replace old ones. Technology becomes outdated within months. Success is measured by accumulation rather than contentment. The race never seems to end. Yet Lakshmi, standing peacefully upon her lotus, offers another vision of prosperity. She does not ask humanity to reject wealth. She asks humanity to master it, to earn honestly, to spend wisely, to share generously, to save responsibly, and above all, never to allow possessions to become the measure of one's worth. Empires have risen and fallen. Currencies have changed. Coins have become paper. Paper has become numbers. And numbers have become invisible streams of digital information, moving silently across the world in the blink of an eye. Yet one truth has remained unchanged throughout every civilization. The chains may no longer be forged from iron, nor are ankles bound with metal. Yet countless people today carry invisible chains of anxiety, repayments, endless consumption, and the constant pursuit of more. Discovering that true freedom cannot be purchased, but must arise from wisdom, moderation, and contentment. The richest life is not necessarily the one that possesses the most. It is the one that has learned the timeless art of living with gratitude, balance, and enough. Perhaps this is the deeper treasure that Lakshmi brought forth from the cosmic ocean. Not merely wealth for the hands, but wisdom for the heart. Section 6, Lakshmi and the energy of the home. Throughout India and across the Hindu world, countless homes welcome the presence of Lakshmi with simple acts of devotion. A small lamp is lit at dusk. Fresh flowers are placed before the altar. The home is carefully swept and cleaned. Prayers are offered with folded hands, not merely for prosperity, but for harmony, health, and the well being of every member of the family. To an outside observer, these may appear to be ordinary customs passed down through generations. Yet, beneath these gentle traditions lies a profound spiritual understanding. Lakshmi is believed to dwell where there is cleanliness, gratitude, generosity, and mutual respect. The deeper symbolism is beautifully simple. Order invites clarity, gratitude invites abundance, kindness invites peace, and peace itself becomes one of the greatest forms of prosperity. The ancient sages understood that wealth is not measured only by what fills a treasury, it is also measured by the atmosphere that fills a home. A modest dwelling where family members speak with love, share their meals with gratitude, and care for one another possesses a richness that cannot be purchased with gold. By contrast, even great luxury cannot bring happiness where anger, resentment, and selfishness dominate daily life. Modern psychology increasingly confirms what the scriptures quietly taught thousands of years ago. The emotional environment within a home shapes the well being of every person who lives there. Words spoken in kindness leave invisible blessings. Words spoken in anger leave invisible wounds. The energy that we create through our thoughts, speech, and actions becomes the unseen inheritance that we pass from one generation to the next. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi is so often associated with the simple act of lighting a lamp. Darkness does not disappear through argument, it disappears when light is introduced. In the same way, the darkness of anxiety, greed, and conflict slowly recedes when gratitude, patience, and compassion become daily habits. The Bhagavatam gently reminds us that every home can become a sacred place, not because it is large or beautifully decorated, but because those who live within it choose to cultivate harmony over conflict, generosity over selfishness, and contentment over endless comparison. Even the preparation of a meal may become an act of worship. Food cooked with mindfulness nourishes more than the body, it nourishes the heart. The sharing of that food with family, friends, guests, or those in need becomes an offering to the divine itself. The simple act of feeding another person has always been regarded in Sanatana Dharma as one of the highest expressions of Lakshmi's grace. The same may be said of charity. Throughout history, those who have shared their prosperity with others have often discovered a deeper abundance arising within themselves. The joy of giving frequently exceeds the joy of receiving. For generosity transforms wealth from private possession into collective blessing. This is Lakshmi's quiet message to every household. Keep your home clean, keep your speech gentle, respect food, honor your elders, care for your children, protect the vulnerable, welcome the stranger, share what you have, and allow gratitude to become a daily prayer. For where kindness becomes the culture of a home, Lakshmi is already present, not merely as the goddess of fortune, but as the silent presence of peace, harmony, and sacred abundance that dwells within every loving heart. Section 7. Inner Wealth, the prosperity that can never be lost. As Lakshmi continued to bless the universe with her radiant presence, the ancient sages contemplated a question that remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. What is the greatest wealth that a human being can possess? The world often answers with money, property, and status. Yet, the Bhagavatam gently invites us to look beyond appearances and discover another kind of prosperity that neither time nor circumstance can easily diminish. For there exists a wealth that no thief can steal, no market crash can erase it, no inflation can reduce its value, no inheritance dispute can divide it, and no passing of time can cause it to fade. This is the wealth that arises within. It is the wealth of peace, the wealth of wisdom, the wealth of good health, loving relationships, compassion, and devotion. The wealth of a quiet mind that rests content in the present moment. A person may possess millions yet remain poor in gratitude. Another may possess little yet awaken each morning feeling blessed beyond measure. Who then is truly wealthy? The Bhagavad Gita repeatedly teaches that the one who has mastered the restless mind has attained a treasure greater than all earthly riches. For external possessions may provide comfort, but inner stability provides freedom. Modern life often encourages people to accumulate endlessly. New opportunities appear each day. New ambitions replace old ones. The mind races from one desire to the next, believing fulfillment lies just beyond the next achievement. Yet when one goal is reached, another soon takes its place. The horizon continues to move further away. Many spend their youth chasing success, only to discover later that they neglected their health. Others devote themselves entirely to financial achievement, only to realize too late that relationships quietly slipped away while they were busy earning a living. Some accumulate impressive fortunes while losing the simple ability to sit peacefully in silence. The Bhagavatam offers another vision of abundance. It teaches that life itself is already overflowing with gifts that money cannot purchase. The warmth of sunlight upon the face, the laughter of children, the embrace of a friend, the fragrance of rain upon dry earth, the companionship of animals, the beauty of a sunrise, the comfort of prayer, the joy of serving another without expectation. These two are forms of Lakshmi. Perhaps the greatest poverty of modern society is not financial hardship, but the inability to recognize the abundance that already surrounds us. The constant noise of comparison often blinds us to the countless blessings quietly present in our daily lives. Gratitude, therefore, becomes one of the highest forms of spiritual wealth. The grateful heart discovers prosperity everywhere, in every meal, in every breath, in every act of kindness, in every opportunity to learn, to forgive, and to love. The ancient sages often described contentment as the greatest treasure, not because ambition is wrong, but because endless craving leaves the mind forever unsettled. The person who has learned to say, I have enough, has discovered a freedom that many wealthy people spend their entire lives searching for. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi appears with such serenity upon her lotus. She reminds humanity that true abundance begins not with accumulation, but with appreciation, not with possessing more, but with recognizing the immeasurable value of what already surrounds us. For the richest soul is not the one who owns the greatest fortune. It is the one who walks through life with gratitude in the heart wisdom in the mind, and compassion in every action. Such a person carries within themselves a prosperity that can never be diminished. And wherever such a soul walks, Lakshmi quietly walks beside them. Section 8. Why Lakshmi chooses Vishnu. As Lakshmi emerged from the ocean of milk, every eye in the universe turned toward her. The Devas watched with reverence. The Asuras gazed with desire. Kings, sages, and celestial beings stood in silent anticipation. For whoever received the companionship of Lakshmi would receive the blessings of prosperity itself. Yet the Bhagavatam tells us that Lakshmi did not choose power. She did not choose ambition. She did not choose physical strength. She did not choose those who sought wealth for selfish gain. Instead, with serene grace, she approached Lord Vishnu and placed the garland around his neck. The moment is one of the most beautiful in all of Hindu mythology. Yet beneath its beauty lies a profound spiritual truth. Lakshmi chooses Vishnu because prosperity must always rest upon Dharma. Lord Vishnu is the preserver of the universe. He sustains order amidst chaos. He protects righteousness when it declines. He restores balance whenever harmony is threatened. His strength is guided by wisdom. His power is governed by compassion. His actions arise from selfless responsibility rather than personal desire. Lakshmi therefore chooses stability over ambition, wisdom over impulse, duty over ego, compassion over pride. In that single symbolic act, the Bhagavatam teaches that wealth, separated from righteousness, eventually becomes destructive. History offers countless examples. Great fortunes have been built through greed, only to disappear within a generation. Power has corrupted kings, governments, and empires. Families have been divided by inheritance. Friendships have been broken through jealousy. Societies have suffered whenever prosperity became detached from ethics. The lesson remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Money itself is neither good nor bad. Like water, it takes the shape of the vessel that contains it. In the hands of wisdom, it nourishes life. In the hands of ignorance, it may become a source of suffering. Lakshmi's choice therefore becomes a lesson for every human heart. Prosperity must be guided by character. Success must be guided by integrity. Knowledge must be guided by humility. And power must always be guided by compassion. Modern society often celebrates those who accumulate the most. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly asks a different question. Not, how much have you earned? But rather, how have you used what has been entrusted to you? Every person receives different gifts. Some receive wealth, some receive knowledge, some receive health, some receive influence, some receive opportunities to serve. Each blessing carries with it a sacred responsibility. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi remains eternally beside Vishnu. She reminds humanity that prosperity reaches its highest purpose when it serves something greater than itself. When wealth educates a child, when success uplifts a community, when knowledge is shared freely, when resources protect the vulnerable, when generosity replaces selfishness, Lakshmi smiles. For prosperity has found its rightful home. The Bhagavatam therefore invites every seeker to become a worthy companion of Lakshmi, not by chasing fortune without end, but by cultivating a life founded upon truth, compassion, self-discipline, and Dharma. For where righteousness is honored, where wisdom guides action, where gratitude overcomes greed, and where love triumphs over selfishness, there the gentle footsteps of Lakshmi are never far away. Section 9. the return to sacred living. As the great churning of the ocean of milk moved deeper into its sacred unfolding, the universe had already witnessed the emergence of many extraordinary treasures. Some inspired wonder, some revealed beauty, some tested discernment, some offered power, and some quietly challenged the human heart. Yet among them all, the appearance of Lakshmi continues to speak across the centuries with a message that remains timeless. Her story is not merely about the acquisition of wealth, it is about the restoration of harmony. It is about learning to recognize abundance where the restless mind sees only scarcity. It is about discovering that prosperity reaches far beyond coins, possessions, and worldly success. The Bhagavatam gently reminds us that every human being is already surrounded by blessings. The breath that sustains life, the food upon the table, the love of family, the loyalty of friends, the beauty of nature, the opportunity to learn, the privilege of serving others, the freedom to seek the divine. These too are treasures drawn from the cosmic ocean. Perhaps the greatest miracle is not that Lakshmi emerged from the churning of the universe. Perhaps the greater miracle is that her presence may still be discovered within every grateful heart. The modern world often teaches people to seek more success, more possessions, more recognition, more influence. The race never truly ends. Yet the Bhagavatam quietly teaches another path, the path of balance, the path of gratitude, the path of generosity, the path of contentment. For when desire is guided by wisdom, prosperity becomes a blessing. When wealth serves compassion, it becomes sacred. When success uplifts others rather than feeding the ego, Lakshmi herself smiles upon that life. The ancient sages understood that the greatest riches are often invisible. A peaceful mind, a loving family, good health, honest friendships, a clear conscience, a compassionate heart, a life lived in harmony with Dharma. These are treasures that neither time nor circumstance can easily take away. Perhaps this is why Lakshmi stands forever upon the lotus. The lotus rises above the mud without rejecting it. It remains rooted in the world while turning always toward the light. So too may every seeker live amidst the complexities of modern life while preserving inner peace and spiritual balance. The story of Lakshmi therefore becomes an invitation to earn honestly, to spend wisely, to give generously, to live gratefully, to seek knowledge, to cultivate kindness, and to remember that the wealth of the soul will always exceed the wealth of the marketplace. As our journey through this sacred episode draws to a close, one final question remains for each of us to answer. What do I truly consider wealth? For the answer to that question quietly shapes every choice we make, every relationship we nurture, and every dream we pursue. May Lakshmi bless your home with harmony. May she bless your work with purpose. May she bless your heart with contentment. And may she remind us all that the highest prosperity is not found in what we possess, but in what we become. For when a life is lived with wisdom, gratitude, generosity, and love, Lakshmi is already there. Section 10. Why is Lakshmi worshipped as a goddess? At this point, some viewers may wonder, if Lakshmi represents prosperity, harmony, beauty, and gratitude, why is she worshipped in the form of a divine goddess? The answer lies within one of the deepest insights of Sanatana Dharma. Throughout Hindu tradition, profound spiritual principles are often expressed through personal forms. Saraswati is not merely a woman holding a veena. She represents knowledge, wisdom, learning, and creativity. Durga is not merely a warrior goddess. She represents divine strength, protection, and courage. In the same way, Lakshmi is not merely a celestial woman standing upon a lotus. She represents prosperity, harmony, beauty, abundance, and auspiciousness. Many people also ask why prosperity is represented in a feminine form. In Hindu thought, Lakshmi is understood as Shakti, the nurturing, sustaining, and life giving divine energy through which abundance, beauty, and harmony flow into the world. The feminine form therefore symbolizes the power that nourishes, supports, and enriches life, just as a mother nurtures and sustains her family. The personal form allows human beings to develop a relationship with qualities that might otherwise remain abstract and distant. It is easier to love, honor, and meditate upon Lakshmi Devi than upon an abstract concept called prosperity. The sacred image itself becomes a teacher. The lotus speaks of purity. The flowing gold coins symbolize abundance. Her serene expression reflects inner peace. Thus, the image is both symbolic and devotional. There is no contradiction between saying that Lakshmi is prosperity itself and saying that Lakshmi is worshipped as a divine goddess. In the Hindu understanding, both are true simultaneously. For this reason, Lakshmi is worshipped not merely as a celestial figure, but as the living embodiment of prosperity, harmony, beauty, gratitude, and auspiciousness. And wherever these qualities flourish, her presence is already there. Prosperity is not merely the abundance one holds in the hand, but the peace one is able to hold within the heart.